Souvenir spoons have been collected in this country for over 130 years. No longer just collectibles, early spoons are historic objects that reflect events, interests, and technologies from the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th centuries. Spoon collecting started in Western Europe, arrived in the United States in 1891, and immediately became hugely popular. Most antique spoons were made of sterling silver with a 92.5% silver content. Although the mania for spoons began in Boston and other cities along the East Coast, it didn't take long for Arizona to join the craze. The first spoon for the Arizona Territory was sold in the fall of 1891 by Prescott jeweler George Curry. He designed a heavy silver spoon with a saguaro-shaped handle and a bowl portraying the big house at the Casa Grande ruins. It appeared in a nationally distributed booklet of spoons, and early sales were by mail order. Cook's choice of Casa Grande was not accidental and was directed toward the spoon collecting population in the Boston area. An archaeological expedition funded by Boston philanthropist Mary Hemingway had introduced the prehistory of Arizona to the Boston public a few years earlier. Political support from that area helped the Casa Grande become country's first federally protected prehistoric cultural site. Jewelers from Tucson and Flagstaff joined the spoon craze the following year. In Tucson, jeweler J.A. Black designed a spoon with a figure of Geronimo on the handle and an image of San Javier Mission in the bowl. Geronimo's image may be from a single or composite photo and is unusual for its level of detail. Although his final surrender was in 1886, Geronimo remained a favorite subject of discussion throughout the country for many years, and here J.A. Black references the Apache leader's exploits in southeastern Arizona. A few months later, a pair of Flagstaff jewelers, Cook and Lee, created a spoon with the San Francisco Mountains in the bowl and a large pine tree engraved on the handle. Over the next 20 years, jeweler George H. Cook would leave the partnership and open jewelry stores in Prescott, Phoenix, Jerome, and Tucson. He advertised frequently, and by the turn of the century may have been the largest seller of spoons in the territory. In 1893, the first spoon by a Phoenix retailer came to market when jewelers Vantelberg and Davison produced this figure of a Pima girl carrying an Oya. It is impressive in both detail and weight, but leaves something to be desired as a functional spoon. The presence of Maricopa and Tohono individuals on the downtown streets of Phoenix was a common sight at this time and may have been the inspiration for this spoon. Each of the early spoons on the left was created from a design suggested by or for an Arizona jeweler. The spoons were expensive and retailed at the current equivalent of $110 to $130 each. The economic crisis of 1893 severely affected the affordability of this type of spoon, and very few custom-designed spoons were made after the mid-1890s. Interest in collecting remained strong, however, and to meet the demand for lower-cost souvenir spoons, manufacturers began to engrave bowls of spoons originally made for sets of silverware. These etch pattern spoons dominated the sterling silver collecting hobby for the remainder of the 1890s and stayed popular for many years. The most collectible pattern souvenir spoons are prized for displaying interesting etched designs in the bowl. Many renderings of buildings, scenery, and people are believed to have been created by artists employed by spoon manufacturers. The three examples in the center date to the late 1890s and were hand engraved and acid etched at the Gorham factory in Rhode Island. These well-executed scenes depict Montezuma's Castle in the Verde Valley, a prospector's burrow in Phoenix, and Thumb Butte in Prescott. Spoons with manufacturer engraved bowls were sometimes personalized by the local retailer with a title or date. On this view of the Adams Hotel in Phoenix, the date of the hotel's first year in operation, 1897, can be seen on the handle. This Territorial Capitol spoon is dated on the reverse December 25, 1901, a Christmas gift commemorating the recently opened Capitol building. Perhaps the first Arizona patterned souvenir spoon was created for distribution at the Chicago World's Columbian Exposition in 1893. Etched into the bowl is a view of the Territorial building at the exposition. 3 territories, Arizona, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, shared a single structure at the fair, with each exhibiting in a 30 by 90 foot space. Reviewers considered the Arizona display successful, although perhaps a bit costly despite the frugal measure of sharing a building between 3 exhibitors. Some of the most attractive spoons of this time were made in very limited quantities for small markets. This beautiful gold wash spoon from Winslow has an engraved image of a local natural feature titled Punch Bowl. Also known as the Devil's Punch Bowl, this large rock was a popular meeting and picnic location in Winslow around the turn of the 20th century. The boulder is still there, but the memory of the Punch Bowl as a meeting place has long since faded. Inexpensive silver-plated spoons were sometimes marketed in the 1890s as sales premiums. In this example, B. Heyman promised a free spoon of the battleship Maine with every purchase of $1 or more at its furniture store in Phoenix. He extended the Spanish-American War theme a month later by offering a second spoon showing Commodore Dewey's battleship Olympia. Despite the occasional giveaways of less expensive spoons such as these, 92.5% sterling silver spoons remain the choice of collectors. Following the nationwide economic recovery, the first years of the 20th century would become the golden age of silver spoon collecting. New technologies enabled the creation of thousands of varieties by many manufacturers. Souvenir spoons reached their all-time peak level of popularity between 1900 and America's entry into World War I in 1917.